The American dream, is it alive or is it dead? Let's talk about it, guys. Go over some people's experiences. I'll give my 2 cents as always. So if you find value, smash that like button. Feel free to subscribe and let's get into it.
The American dream is debt. Let's talk about it. All of the aspects of the typical American dream is literally debt. Going to that incredible university, the private out-of-state university or the Ivy League university, you have 6 figures of debt. Driving that nice car, you have a 4-figure car note. Having a mortgage, you're locked into a 30-year loan. If you want affordable health insurance or a 401k, you need to work in that 9 to 5. If you don't want to be screwed by the tax people, you need to get married and have kids. The American dream is to be in debt and to have so many dependents that you have no choice but to work and work and work until you literally can't work anymore and have no choice but to retire. That is the American dream. And we're also taught socially to subconsciously look down on people who choose alternative paths. People who are more free than the average person, people who choose not to have children, who choose not to get married, who choose not to work in corporate, people who choose to go to community college or trade school instead of getting, like up to 6 figures of debt at a university. People who choose to drive beaters or to buy used cars instead of brand new cars off the lot. Those people are looked down upon because that is not in line with the American dream, which is to get as much debt as you can so that you don't have a choice but to work. It's just something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Like, the American dream is literally just you getting into debt. So
yeah, she's right, man. She's spitting facts. That's so true, especially the part where she's talking about people being looked down upon if they don't go to a prestigious college out of high school. If they go, the trade route or the community college route, people look down upon, get looked down upon for that, which is insane. And back in the 50s, the 60s, when our grandparents or our parents, depending on how old you are, were growing up, back then, the American dream was actually affordable with no debt, essentially. Well, I guess you needed a mortgage, but you can buy a decent car in cash. You can do all these things, send your kids to university or college and cash flow it, or you can pay it. I know my grandfather, he worked at a diner. He immigrated from Greece with my grandmother. They were broke, completely poor, but they were able to cash flow my mom and her brother through college. And my mom and my uncle worked, right, through college. But think about that. Who's cash flowing their kids' college these days unless you're making a ton of money, And she's right. These days, to be a part of the, or live the American dream, it's a lot of debt. Send your kids to school, debt, car debt, mortgages through the roof, It's wild these days.
We're barely into 2025 and somehow this housing market has managed to get even worse. Let me paint a picture for you. I'm newly engaged. My fiance and I make 6 figures and we are considering a home just like this. Fenced in backyard. We could have all the guest room for people to come and stay with us. We could get a dog. We could start our family here and even retire here. But then something happened. This home sold for $490,000. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, that's not so bad, but let me show you. This home here that sold for $490,000 today sold for $285,000 just 5 years ago with no major upgrades. To really drive things home, this home here that sold today for $490,000 with 6% down and a 6.5% interest rate gives you a payment of $3,294. In 2020, with a $285,000 sale price, 6% down and a 3.5% rate gives you a payment of $1,457. The people that afford this home today make $200,000 a year, when the couple that sold this home only needed to make $95,000 combined to afford this house when they bought it in 2020. Now, those same 2 teachers or that one person with an income couldn't even come close to affording that home. That's the problem that I have. So I will eventually adjust my expectations, but I shouldn't have to, and that's the issue. Let me know what your thoughts are, because I am simply outraged, and I'm going to do what it takes. I'm going to get that house, even if I have to pay $500,000. But the fact that I have to work that much harder and do that much better than people just 5 years ago, I'm pissed. And let me know what it's like in your market. I'm sure that home is something like $1 million in most, so let me know.
Man, I totally feel where this guy's coming from, because my wife and I, we're in the same position. We're renting right now, and we want to buy a home, right? But, where we're at, all the homes are $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, which eventually, we're going to end up getting something like that for sure. We can afford it, but saving up for that down payment is just insane. And 5 years ago, right, he was saying that same home was what, $285,000 with barely any difference in the home. It's not like they upgraded it over the 5 years and the value went up. It's ridiculous. And the rates have gone up, which means your monthly payment obviously is going to be more expensive. It's just unbelievable. And the thing is, wages, we've covered this in previous videos in my millennials and Gen Z, they're being priced out of the market video. I made that a couple weeks ago. We covered how wages are not keeping up with the inflation and the rising prices of especially homes. Wages are not keeping up. It's not like, okay, the home went from $285 to $500K and people's salaries doubled. No. The home went from $300 to $500K and people's salaries went up 5%. Whoop-de-freaking-do, right? It's not enough. It's crazy times we're living in here, guys. And it's funny when older people are like, oh, you're just not working hard enough. Oh, you got to go get another job. I laugh so hard when people say that because it's just different economic times. And it goes to show how that older generation is completely out of touch.
I really think the American dream is dead because once upon a time, like our parents or grandparents thought they could have the American dream by, working hard, which would equate to them being successful. And then they can buy this house with the white picket fence and easily have 2.5 kids. And it's like, in this day and age, that shit is not true. You can bust your butt, go to college, get this degree to A, not even find a job because this economy is terrible, or B, get a job that's trying to pay you $20 an hour with a college degree. And then to be able to afford a property nowadays, it's just wild, especially if you live in California like I do. Like, I know other states are a little easier, but for a majority of people, it is still very difficult to buy a house. So this BS American dream that we have been told, it's dead. Maybe it worked for our parents or grandparents, like maybe, but nowadays it doesn't work because sadly, the rich only get richer while the poor gets poorer.
Exactly right. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Man, that is the realest thing I've heard, and we saw that over the last couple of years during COVID, the years after that, with all the money printing, rates going to zero, that pushed real estate prices up, pricing out poor people. That pushed stock prices up, which poor people don't own stocks, right? For the most part. So inflation's gone through the roof. People that don't make much money, their dollar isn't stretching as far. They're falling behind on bills. They have a lot of credit card debt. While the rich people, their stocks are going up because of the money printing, 0% interest rates. Their property values are going up, and they're not pinched for, dollars each month for bills. They have so much money. They make so much money, that inflation doesn't hurt them at all. That's the reality. They can eat the costs. So, yes, she's right. The rich get richer, poor get poorer. And if you're on the West Coast, man, she lives in California, it's tough to get a house there for sure. You have to be making at least $150K, $200K a year, probably more depending on the city you're in California, other places as well. Unbelievable, man.
I honestly don't know how people 18 to 30 right now are just going to work and acting like nothing's happening. This is going to be a deep dive into the modern American dream and what people need to realize if they're young in their career right now. And if you are just doom scrolling, go ahead and go to the next one. But if you are actually serious about taking career advice from someone who has left a $300K a year corporate job to run their own business in 2025, let's talk. I just want to give you a little bit of context as to where we are at and mapping this to past trends in the US. My mom's parents, my dad's parents, Neither of them went to college. They grew up in a small town, a manufacturing town back when the United States was the manufacturing capital of the world. And what happened when I go to their towns now, which is a small town in Indiana and a small town in South Carolina, there's a graveyard of factories that are completely empty. They have been deteriorating for 20 to 30 years. Right now, if you are 18 to 35, we are just like our grandparents who are working at a factory. There's a clear path. Maybe you're in tech and there's a high-paying job. You can save money, you can live a good lifestyle. But you know what just happened? And this is the same shit as our grandparents experienced is, hey, they're working at the Ford factory and it's going great. But you know what? GM just announced they're moving their facilities to China. And oh, that's okay. Hey, Cursor is replacing the need for engineers at tech companies. Some of the biggest investment banks in the world are forecasting a recession, but hey, it hasn't hit me yet. I'm making $150K. I'm just gonna save 10% more this month. The same exact shit is happening right now, guys. And if you are 18 to 35, you have two choices. You can hold on to your slightly above average, higher than normal paying job, and you can wait 3 to 5 years until you finally get cut, and then you've got to figure it out when you're even more entrenched in your lifestyle, or you can actually start building or changing careers right now. If you have the ability to go really deep on the technical side and you understand that world, maybe that's a path for you. But if not, and I'm dead serious, guys, you need to learn how to sell right now. I don't see a path in 2050 and beyond where almost any type of job is still in demand. Now, sure, there's going to be programmers, there's going to be analysts, there's going to be lots of different, traditionally high-paying roles, but with how much software is doing, there's going to be less of those jobs available because AI is going to be a co-pilot and making those jobs execute much faster with less people. And additionally, the pay bands for those, which right now a highly skilled software engineer can still command 400 to 500K, that is going to slow down, and overall, on average, that is going to come down further and further. There is no advantage anymore in being a great programmer like there was between 2000 and 2020, where if you were the first person to market, you made the first Uber of whatever, you had a real chance of building a successful, fast-growing business. That is commoditized. I built a ChatGPT bot yesterday in an hour that automated 5 hours of work per week, and I don't even know how to program. So if you do not know how to sell, I recommend getting an entry-level sales job at a reputable company, especially if you have a solid background, so you can just understand the skills of how to carry a one-on-one conversation, how to sell a higher ticket item business to business, and or maybe you don't necessarily want to do that if you are not learning how to play the social media game, if you are not trying to build a YouTube, a TikTok, or an Instagram. Just pick one. You don't have to do all three at the beginning, but if you are not learning that, guys, I don't see a future where 10 years from now, you're going to have a real chance to compete against AI and so many jobs. So with that being said, I'm giving honest career advice of someone who has left their 300K corporate job because I built an online business that is bigger than that salary. If you want more of that advice, that is what this channel is about.
So that was a bit of a longer clip, 3.5 minutes, but he's so right. He touched upon artificial intelligence a little bit and kind of the future of jobs, career opportunities. And I've said this across my different channels, on social media here. I've said that AI is going to take a lot of jobs away. Software engineers, right? I think AI is going to disrupt that industry big time. Accounting, for sure. I think accounting, that industry in the next 10, 15 years, heck, right now, and in the next 5 years, I think is going to be disrupted. Sure, there's going to be accountants out there, but for really big, complicated businesses that have a bunch of different, things going on, right? There's going to be accountants, but the average Joe that needs their taxes done, people that have, a single member LLC like myself, it's just me, right? We don't really need an accountant at the end of the day. If we have a software, if we have, AI helping us do our taxes through the software, we don't need a CPA. I actually did this last year and I saved hundreds of dollars on my taxes, and it was a lot less of a headache. And it was seamless, you know what I mean? So I think AI is definitely going to disrupt many industries, and this could crush the American dream for a lot of people, depending on what field you're in. And I couldn't agree with him more. You got to maybe start a side hustle, create content. This is something that AI can't disrupt. It was a longer clip, but man, that guy, that was really valuable.
If you live in the US, the American dream is slowly becoming the American nightmare. Please do not fall victim to this. Loans for education, education for a job for a mortgage. Spend the next 40 years paying off your student loans and your house. 50 years ago, this was the play. You basically needed a good degree to get a good job, and housing prices were way cheaper. Today, this is basically digging yourself a coffin, all because of the democratization of information. Only the educated are free, and you used to have to go to Harvard to learn about specific skills. Today you can literally watch Harvard lectures online for free. The internet has flipped the entire system on its head, and it's slowly catching up. The smartest thing you can do today is learn new skills in this digital economy and document your process online so you have social proof and people want to work with you. Nobody's going to teach you this in a college lecture. You can work from anywhere and create income streams out of thin air. If you're ready to flip the script this year, give me a follow.
There you go. This goes more into the online business, online, essentially learning skills to make money online. If you're not utilizing the internet these days to make money, the reality is, man, you are falling behind. You know, it's the reality. I mean, sure, working a 9 to 5 is great. You know, being an accountant, but again, it's going to get disrupted. But being an accountant, being a lawyer, doing all this stuff is great. It's noble work for sure. But you need to figure out a way to make money online through your phone. All these apps are so powerful. We've never lived in a day and age where you can pop up an app, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, make a video, create an audience, build a following, and monetize it. You know, we've never lived in a world where you can do this, right? What we're doing here too, even though I don't make money on this channel right now, right? But this has never been a thing up until the last 10, 15, 20 years. And people that aren't taking advantage of this, they're being left behind. You know, that's the reality. They're being left behind. And the new American dream, in my opinion, is having money coming in, through your job, yes. But if you're able to, create some sort of online business, online presence, making money from that as well, that, in my opinion, is the new American dream. And you don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to do any of that, right? You can be somebody on the back end, build websites, build funnels. You know, there's other ways you can make money online, build, different blogs, websites, email lists, email marketing. It doesn't have to be you in front of a camera. If you're not good in front of a camera, you can literally, there's so many different ways to make money online. And I'll leave you with this, guys. Again, if you're not doing it, you're going to be left behind unless you make like $500,000 a year at your 9 to 5, or you have your own business making a bunch of money. You're going to be good, but you know what I mean, guys. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Run the likes up. Don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube. We're almost at 1,000 subs, guys. We're so close. Hit that subscribe button and check out the next video right here. I'll see you guys there. And with that being said, peace out.